G'day legends. In this video, I want to talk about probably one of the most important parts of the whole recording, mixing, mastering process, and that is pre-production. Now, this is an area that actually a lot of people seem to skip over. I've had so many artists and bands come into the studio who have actually done no pre-production. They've literally just kind of practiced the songs, maybe jammed them as a band, kind of got them tight that way, but they've never actually sat down with the song and taken a few of these things into account that I'm about to share with you. So the first one we're going to talk about is tempo. Getting the tempo of your song right is so important. It seems so simple and such a silly thing to talk about, but the tempo of the song is so important, and there's so many people who don't really even think about this until I say, hey, do you have a tempo in mind for the song? And they go, oh, I haven't really thought about this. Now, I'm not trying to make anyone feel inferior, like, oh, I didn't think about that. Like, that's cool, but going forward, it is something really important to start thinking about for your productions. If it's a dance song, does the tempo make you want to dance? With the tempo you have now, do your vocals feel rushed? Does it feel like the song's dragging? Does it feel like it's upbeat enough for what you want? Or is it too fast and you need to bring it back, make it feel a little bit more laid back? These are the questions you need to ask yourself and consider when you're going to get your tempo right. There's been so many times when I've gotten to the end of a session, everything's tracked, it's all sounding pretty cool, and then someone pipes up,
"It feels a bit slow, doesn't it?"
And you just go, oh, like, come on, guys. So you've had all day to figure this out. But, you know, it happens, and it's frustrating. And it is something that you really need to have ironed out before you get started. Now, if you're working with a producer, they're probably going to cover a lot of this stuff. So if you have someone that you're working with doing pre-production, getting the song set up, they're going to go through this stuff with you. But if you're producing it yourself, then you really need to think about this stuff. And it can be hard to get the tempo without hearing it with all the other stuff going on. So this is where being able to demo at home is so important. There's no excuse in this day and age why all musicians and artists who want to write songs do not have the ability to demo at home. You really need to have some sort of basic interface, a microphone, and then that's enough to get you recording demos at home. There's heaps of free software out there that you can use. There's no excuse not to be creating demos at home and getting your ideas down and testing this stuff out. If you're serious about your music, start doing demos. I've been doing demos forever. I remember like recording terrible songs that I will never show anyone back on my parents' PC in the early 2000s. And all we had was one of those like desktop piece of plastic thin microphones on a stick kind of thing. I'll see if I can find a picture of it and show you. And you would just plug it into the back of your computer into the little 3.5 millimeter microphone jack. And I would just record terrible songs using that. But I was demoing ideas and I was getting my ideas down. And that's the whole point of doing demos. Maybe you're never going to show anyone them, but at least it will help you figure this stuff out. So for example, I've got a demo of one of my songs here. Now I'm going to play it to you with just the acoustic guitar and the vocal. This is kind of where all of my demos start, just a guide guitar, a guide vocal, and then I kind of build into it from there. So this is generally what I'll start with.
I can taste the words on your lips. They're trying to get out. Got so many things you need to share with me, but don't know how. I can see the pain in your eyes. Don't let it get you down, 'cause you know that every day the sun will rise, so lift your eyes.
So at the moment we're sitting at 80 BPM. So the next thing you want to do is probably see what it's going to sound like once you add a beat to it. Because once you add drums to a song, it really changes the feel. So if you know you're going to have drums in your song, you might want to program out just some basic MIDI and just get a bit of a groove behind it and see how it feels. You'll quickly know whether it feels slow or whether it feels too fast. This is going to help you find the feel for the song. So for me, I've just jumped on the kit and played some drums because I have it set up. I'm a drummer. It's quicker than typing out MIDI for me. I can just get in and quickly track some drums. So this is the beat that I put down.
I can taste the words on your lips. They're trying to get out. Got so many things you need to share with me, but don't know how. I can see the pain.
So you can feel it's kind of a cruisy pace. What's the chorus sound like?
If all we have is now, come and waste some time, waste your time with me. Nobody gets you like I do.
So we've got a bit more energy in the chorus. The vocals are a little bit quicker here. So this is where we've got to find that happy medium between the tempo of the verse and the tempo of the chorus, and make sure that it doesn't feel like the vocals are getting too jumbled up. So something really cool about Logic is you can change the tempo using flex times. So if we press Command F, this little twisted audio symbol pops up. Now we're going to highlight all our tracks, and then we're going to click on that. And this is going to activate flex time. Now just quickly, with drums, you want to put them in slicing mode, bass in monophonic, acoustic in polyphonic, guitars in polyphonic, vocals in monophonic. Okay, now we're not actually going to do any flexing or dragging of any markers here. All we're going to do is come up and we're going to change the tempo. And while we're in flex mode, it's just going to automatically change the tempo for us of all of these tracks, and we're going to be able to addition it in different tempos. So let's take it up 5 beats. Let's see what this would sound like if we did it at 85.
I can taste the words on your lips. They're trying to get out. Got so many things you need to share with me, but don't know how. I can see the pain in your eyes. Don't let it get you down.
You know, it actually doesn't sound too bad at 85 in the verse. So definitely gives it a more upbeat kind of vibe. But let's have a listen to what happens when we hit that chorus.
I don't wanna slow this down. I'm not fooling around. If all we have is now, come and waste some time, waste your time with me. Nobody gets you like I do.
You know, it's kind of racing along here. It feels a little too quick. So then we could back it down. We could say maybe like 82. What's that sound like?
I'm not fooling around. If all we have is now, come and waste some time, waste your time with me. Nobody gets you like I do. We don't need a sign, shooting stars in our eyes.
That's pretty good. That actually doesn't sound too bad at all. Coming from 80, maybe we are kind of like dragging the beat a little.
If all we have is now, come and waste some time, waste your time with me. Nobody gets you like I do.
Back to 82.
We don't need a sign, shooting stars in our eyes. I do anything on my knees, begging please just stay and waste your time with me.
So that sounds pretty cool. So 80 doesn't sound bad, but now we're kind of having a little bit more push to the music, and it feels like it's moving along at a slightly better pace. So perhaps my demo is actually a little bit too slow. Maybe pushing it 2 beats up is going to make this song a little bit better. We could also go the opposite way and take it down a few beats. Let's take it down to 78 and see what it sounds like.
I can taste the words on your lips. They're trying to get out. Got so many things you need to share with me, but don't know how.
It's just like a complete drag. It's boring. Kind of leaning into 82 now for this song. Like, it sounds good. So that's the beauty of that. Like, you can play with the tempo until you find that sweet spot. Now, obviously, you might not have bass and lead guitar and stuff like that in there, but you could have a programmed drum beat. You could have a basic guitar and a vocal, and you'd be able to audition these tempo changes and hone in and find the perfect tempo for your song. So you can see just how dramatic a couple of beats is for getting the perfect tempo. 2 beats. Between 80 and 82, it makes a massive difference. Obviously, when you're going at a faster tempo, say if you're going at like 155 and 157, you're maybe not going to feel it as much with 2 beats when it's going that fast. But in a slower tempo around these 80s and 90s, you're going to feel those small increments a lot more. Between 1 to 2 to 3 beats in tempo change, it's going to make a huge difference. So this is why it's so important to get the tempo sorted and right, not just kind of wing it on the day of recording and hope that it works out. All right, so I hope I've drilled it home to you. Figure out the tempo, get it right, because it's not great to do flex time stuff later down the track. Obviously, you can if you're desperate and you want to speed a song up. It can be done, but it's not great. It's not the best thing to do. It plays with the quality of the audio. Last resort kind of thing. All right, the next thing I want to talk about is the key of the song. So a lot of the times when you're writing a song, I don't know if it's just me, but like I'll be playing around. Maybe I put a capo on and I find some chords and, I start to find a melody and a song starts to develop, right? And the key that I'm playing it in, that's not necessarily the best key for the song. It's just where the song originated. But maybe you need to take it down a tone, or maybe even 2 tones, or maybe just push it up a semitone. Playing with the key of the song is really important because you want to make sure the song sounds good with your voice. Because if the key is too high, you might sound like you're straining. It may not be getting the best tone out of your voice, whereas if you knocked it down a semitone, it might actually sound a whole lot better and be a whole lot easier to sing, and you'll be able to deliver a better performance. And it can go in the opposite direction. Maybe some of these lower notes, your voice is just not holding up very well on them. You maybe can't hit some of these low notes very good. And if you bumped it up a tone, you'd just be in a much more comfortable place to be able to deliver a good performance. Don't just stick with that key that you originally wrote the song in. Play around with it. Once you've got it all figured out, try it in a different key. See what works. See what sounds good to you. And if you've got a demo, you can also addition these ideas as well. So what I've done here is I've grouped any of our pitched instruments together. I just left the drums out and I put them into a track stack. So I had all of these and then I right-clicked and went to create track stack. And I've done that and created this stack here. Now on this stack, all I'm going to do is add Waves Sound Shifter Pitch. And basically, I'm going to audition listening to what this sounds like, pushing it up or down a little bit. So for example, I can listen to the verse, take it down a semitone.
I can taste the words on your lips. They're trying to get out. Got so many things you need to share with me, but don't know how. I can see that pain in your eyes. Don't let it get you down, 'cause you know that every day the sun will rise and lift your eyes.
It doesn't feel too bad.
I don't wanna slow this down. I'm not fooling around. If all we have is now, come and waste some time, waste your time with me. Nobody gets you like I do.
That sounds a little bit warmer. It's a bit cozier sounding. I don't mind that slightly lower pitch. That's a little bit easier to hit in the chorus and not have to push it as hard. So maybe this song might sound a bit better down a semitone. Let's have a listen to it up a semitone.
If all we have is now, come and waste some time, waste your time with me. Nobody gets you like I do.
The chorus feels pretty energetic with that slightly higher pitch. It's really pushing along, but that might be a bit of a strain for me. I reckon I could hit it, but it probably wouldn't sound as smooth as that because we're just pitching up a lower register that was a bit easier to sing. So I could definitely play around with that key and just see what feels a bit better to me. And it's just an important thing to do. Like a lot of people just take what they start with and they go, I played the song at this tempo and I wrote it in this key, and they stick with it. But that's not necessarily right for either thing. The song could sound a whole lot better, 10 beats faster, and in a different key. So definitely need to experiment with those things to find a sweet spot for your song. Now, lastly, this is super important, the arrangement. Now, the arrangement can be played with at any point, really, but if you can get it sorted out early on, it's so much better. You can build your song, get it to sound great from the get-go. Whereas if you kind of have to go later and rearrange the song a bit once you've done everything, it can get a little messy and you have to try and piece a bit of a puzzle together. But sorting it out early on just makes for a smooth process. So basically that's like the structure of the song, getting rid of any unnecessary stuff, making sure the song flows nicely and has a great feel to it, going from section to section, that there's no awkwardness and that everything sounds great. So this song, for example, has a pretty typical arrangement. We have an intro, we got verse 1, pre-chorus, chorus, intro, verse 2, pre-chorus, chorus, instrumental, bridge, chorus, outro. So it's a kind of a standard pop kind of structure here, right? But not every song suits that structure. And even if you are trying to get your song to the structure, there may just be some bits in it that need to be cut and cleaned out to get us to this point. For example, the intro might go for 8 bars at the moment when it should really just go for 4 bars because you're probably going to lose the audience's attention. As a band, it might be fun to play that long intro and let the music do its thing. But as a listener, it may be too long and you kind of lose their attention and they might want to skip the song and go to the next thing because there's not enough change happening fast enough. Now, I'm not saying you need to write and arrange your songs to please an audience, although if you are chasing that kind of pop feel, you do have that in mind. You are thinking about the listener and their experience as well. And if you don't care about that, then you should just do whatever you want. Create the music that you love. Do what you like. Obviously, there's a line with this stuff. Like, you can go for an arrangement that's going to please an audience, a majority of people, or you can just do what you want to do, make the music that you love, and that might put you into a smaller niche of listeners. So for example, I've got a 4-bar intro with a little catchy guitar riff. So long enough on that riff, and then there's a change in the vocals come in. If we went twice as long with that, I think people would get bored and they would tune out. Now, the other thing we can consider is, does the song even need an intro? We could start the song with vocals. Let's have a listen to what that could sound like.
I can taste the words on your lips. They're trying to get out.
So that's one way we could start the song. You don't have to have a crazy intro. If you just want to get straight to it, bring it in, vocals, and then everything hits.
I can taste the words on your lips. They're trying to get out.
And let's say the song's kind of long. This could be a great way to shorten it down, especially if you're trying to get your song to like a radio length. You have to keep in mind that you need to keep it in that sort of like 3-minute mark. And if you've got a big long intro, that can be taking up a bit of real estate in your song. So if you get rid of that, figure out a new way to bring the start of the song in, you can shorten it down, make it nice and sweet, nice and snappy, grabs the attention straight away. Vocals, boom, the band's in and away we're going. And while we're considering the intro, what if we just halved it? Let's just do half of the riff.
I can taste the words on your lips. They're trying to get out.
That sounds pretty good too. We're making it snappy. Now the thing is, with current times, people have pretty short attention spans. I would say the majority of people who started watching this video won't even see this section of the video. Most of you will watch like 10 seconds and then like jump out to another one because maybe I don't move at a fast enough pace for you. So that's just something to consider. You've got to keep things pretty snappy at the moment. Even a 4-bar intro might be too long. Cutting it down to 2 bars, little short hook, and then in you go. That could be the way to do it. Now, for example, this verse here, so we've kind of got like 8 bars of a verse and then a 2-bar pre-chorus into our chorus. What if we just go straight to the chorus this time? Let's see how that could possibly sound.
There's a glimmer in your eye. Something about the way the light has captured you. I'm mesmerized. If all we have is now, come and waste some time, waste your time with me.
So potentially that could work if we needed to, again, cut the song down a little bit and we wanted to make it kind of a bit punchier into the next chorus a bit quicker. We could remove that pre-chorus, which is, pre-chorus sounds like this.
I don't want to slow this down. I'm not fooling around. If all we have...
You know, it's a short pre-chorus, but if we're trying to get back precious seconds to shorten the song and make it nice and punchy, we want the second chorus to come in a little bit quicker and not be as predictable, then this could be the way to do it. And we just have to make sure dynamically we flow from the end of that verse up into the chorus, and maybe even just change the end of that vocal line to make it a little bit more exciting and that we're kind of building up. But you get the idea. Even though you've kind of written the song a certain way, it doesn't mean it couldn't be improved by chopping it up a little bit and changing a few things, maybe removing a section that feels maybe a little unnecessary. Maybe you don't need that 4th verse. Maybe the song shouldn't be 7 minutes long. These are things that you need to consider to really get the best out of your song. So nailing the tempo, nailing the key, and nailing the arrangement. Can't stress how important these 3 things are, because the song always trumps everything else. You can have an awesomely mixed song, but if it's in a bad key for the singer, the tempo's wrong, and the arrangement sucks, no one's going to want to listen to the song. Even if it's like the best mix you've ever heard, you're not going to be interested. It's not going to hold your attention. Where we've all probably heard songs that are awesome, and the production's like, yeah, it's all right. Like, you know, it's not the best mix you've ever heard, but the song's great. They've nailed this stuff, And that's what matters in the end. Like, a great song always comes through, even with a bad mix. So, you know, a good song can save a bad mix, whereas a good mix can't really save a bad song. So before you hit the studio to do your next song, just start thinking about these 3 things. Do your homework, do your demos, sort that stuff out. So important. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. Make sure you hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. Make sure you visit my website in the description link below. Check out my drum samples, mix courses. Grabbing any of those is a massive support to this channel. If you buy your gear online through Sweetwater, consider using my affiliate link below. Buying gear through that link doesn't cost you anything extra, but a small kickback comes to the channel. And that's another way of showing your support. If you're keen to stick around for another video, then check out this next one coming up, where I'm going to take this song and turn it into a duet using AI vocal replacement.
If all we have is now, come and waste some time, waste your time with